Hey guys, welcome back. Reese and Ben here at Pursuing Night Arts, and today we're going to explore one of my personal favorite techniques, the Murderstrike.
10R. If he has turned his pommel forwards and strives to shatter your left arm between the elbow and shoulder, then throw your sword forwards to the side and turn your point upwards. Thus you have parried the strike as you see painted above. "10V. If he has turned his pommel forwards and strives to shatter your arm between the elbow and shoulder with it, then throw your sword forwards to the side and turn your point upwards as well. Thus you have blocked his strike as you see painted above."
26V. Take careful note of this piece. If you attempt to strike the outside of his left knee with your pommel and he notices this and attempts to parry the strike, then hold fast and thrust through from the outside of his sword under his left leg. Turn him away from you as you see painted above.
Alright guys, that concludes the video. Really hope you guys enjoyed it. Now Ben and I are just going to discuss a little bit about what we learned along the way. So the first technique we did was 10R. So that was where I take up my sword in the Murderstrike fashion and hit his arm. So it talked about specifically getting between the shoulder and the elbow. And that's a pretty big bone. You notice that we used some wasters in that. Because obviously for two reasons. One, we didn't want to mess up our armor. And two, we can tell early on that you can deliver a really powerful strike.
And two, I technically don't have armor there.
Yeah, and he doesn't have any armor there. So we didn't really want to it says to obliterate your arm, basically. Yeah. So we didn't want to do that for, obvious reasons. So, but a couple things from that, what was interesting is that when I hold it up in that position here and hit it, it's very, very powerful. Mm-hmm. In fact, when I first did it, the first part of it, I actually step with it. In the image, his left leg is forward, and you don't step with it at all, which demonstrates just how powerful it is.
Yeah, the lack of step probably also has to do with range, because you're generally at a near wrestling range for most gladiatorial techniques. Mm-hmm. So a step's not required to reach your opponent because you're within range.
Yeah. So, and then Ben's counter to that is to simply raise a point upwards. And
to the side.
Yeah. So basically, that closes off any kind of range I would have to get his upper arm.
Yeah, it closes the line. It also stuffs him before he reaches full extension, which takes a bunch of his power away. It's still pretty powerful. We did do some experimentation with steel swords against it, and the weight of the pommel and then the hilt furniture and everything really does add a dramatic amount of energy. Just from doing this with the plastic swords, which we use as pommel strike safe swords because we can generally in our armor hit each other as hard as we want and with no ill effect. Even with those, my arm was bruised up and welted, and I had a big swollen spot on my arm from getting hit multiple times doing this. And that was even holding back some on the force. So yeah. I could definitely see a steel pommel creating a problem for you.
Yeah, it could ruin your day. So the next one was 10V. So this one is the same thing, just on the different side, other side of it. So what was interesting in this one is that if I'm holding it from the right side, if I come in, I can't, I have to cross over. So what's really neat about this one is that when I got to point 4, I simply reversed my hand and kind of cross myself and hit him to the other side. Mm-hmm. What's really cool with this one is that my point is facing him. He may not even see that. Mm-hmm. You know, he doesn't even see me do the change. So, and then simply crossing forward like this is very, very powerful.
It's also interesting on the receiving point because you're used to most blows from a right-handed person, if they're going to strike with something, will come from the right side. It doesn't come from the left as often. So when he makes that transition and he starts to throw the Murderstrike, you immediately perceive it as being your left side that's in, you need to parry from, and then the pommel comes around the other side and hits you on the opposite arm, which is pretty
kind of sneaky.
Pretty sneaky, yeah.
Yeah. So, so that was really cool. The last one we did was 26V. So this is another strike with a Murderstrike, but what's really interesting is that it sort of sets you up to do something else, which we see a lot in Gladiatoria. So, plane A, Murderstrike his knee, great. Mm-hmm. Take him down. I will say that, looking through the source and stuff, we often show in the joints, the bones, mm-hmm. and a knee is a really, really good one. That'll take him out of the fight pretty quickly. Yeah. But what's great about it is that, he launched the attack on me, the Murderstrike with the knee. My reaction is to simply just put my sword out there. And we actually tried this with a friend of ours, Grant. And we just launched a strike at him, and he's like, "Oh crap!"
Yeah, it was interesting fishing out a person's natural reaction to a Murderstrike, and when the strike comes at him, somebody that has never practiced blocking one at all will immediately stab their sword into the way of the incoming pommel, which is exactly the artwork shows this. So it's pretty interesting to see is that a natural response without being coached into doing it.
Yeah, and then from there on out, you gain your reaction. You simply do a really cool kind of, feint. Transition. You grab the sword and you thrust between his legs. Mm-hmm. Now, the part of the text, it says you're supposed to get between his legs and turn him. Mm-hmm. We were having some difficulties that day, my prosthesis in particular, so we didn't do that. But basically, if you get between the legs, the upper legs, the biggest bones, you turn him, you're going to move him.
Yep.
So we didn't do that part. But you can see in the footage that he comes in Murderstrike and transitions right around, and you'll see me kind of just create an opening for that. Mm-hmm. So
yeah, it's interesting for the way we play our rule set. Obviously, just being behind them and being able to bring your point up under an area that has no armor, we're going to score a point on that. Now, going between the legs and twisting, obviously in a martial context, if you guys got, especially if he has male berets on, the backs of his legs have mail, and it's going to be hard to stab through that even if you wanted to. Putting your sword between his legs, twisting him, and forcing him to the ground is going to be a much better option for finishing him when you can get on top and control him with your dagger. So it makes perfect sense that that's the follow-up for that technique. Now, for our particular, rule set, it's not necessary.
Yeah, we've done some stuff like that in the past with axe
and with
Lejeune, and it does not take a lot of force.
Yep.
We think that to totally dislocate someone's hip or something crazy. So
that particular technique, when Reese applied it to me with some force, I had zero choice but to go to the ground or lose a hip joint. Yeah,
so we try to be safe with this. You gotta understand that some of the stuff is it's designed to take out a guy in harness. Mm-hmm. So wearing harness, you tend to feel pretty safe and invincible. And these techniques that we're learning are dangerous. So we gotta adjust things accordingly to make them safe. So, but that's it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. It felt really good to get back to doing some Gladiatoria. We're now getting to the section where it's the crazy wrestling stuff, which is really dangerous. So we got to figure out a safe way to do that. So, but some more stuff is on the way. We got the sword review coming. We did a preliminary sword review last time. We're still working through some stuff. And, a little more time with it. Make sure we got enough time to cover all ends of it and make sure we bring you guys something something good.
As much information as we can.
Yeah. So. So special thanks to our Patreon supporters. Mm-hmm. You guys are really, really awesome. You guys helped us, fund the channel, and we're able to continue doing this. So thank you very, very much. And if you like what we're doing, be sure to check out the links down below. And so we look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. So take care.